IG. Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Let's get IG going live. Wait a minute. Here we go. Let's get back over here. Live on IG. Okay. Good afternoon, guys. How are you guys doing out there today? We are live on IG now. We're live on Facebook. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you guys doing out there this lovely Thursday afternoon? Elaine Proby here, CEO Proby Saxon Accounting, and I hope all is doing well. So today I have a very, very exciting topic, something that I truly love myself, simply because this is dealing with the entertainment industry, music, artists, entertainers. We want to talk about tax deductions for people in the entertainment industry, guys. So I'd like for you guys to hit like and share on this live. There's a lot of folks that needs this deduction, needs this information, because I get calls all the time about what can I deduct. A lot of people are in this business. I personally have a lot of clients in the business, and I'm constantly teaching them how to track their information, track their expenses, figure out what their deductions are, and make sure that they make use of all of the deductions, guys. This is the whole thing here. We want to make sure we make use of all our deductions so that we can write off everything and not pay taxes on any kind of income that we shouldn't be paying taxes on, because once you do that again, you're just throwing away your hard-earned dollars, right? So you're just making that money and paying it back in taxes, and this is definitely not what we want to be doing. So hit like and share on this video, guys. Get everyone on board. You guys, this is tax deductions for people in the entertainment industry, artists, songwriters. We got a lot of folks that are artists, performers, songwriters, people that are actors, people that are models, people that are just simply in entertainment, performers. We've got publishers. A lot of folks is in this business. And for the most part, there's expenses that they can deduct. We want to talk about some of the points, some of the ordinary business expenses we're going to talk about today. And then I want to talk about deductions that are limited. Some of them we take for granted. Some of us don't really understand how to take some of these deductions. And I want to talk about some of those deductions that are limited. And then I want to talk about the type of documentation that you need to keep for these deductions, okay? So again, guys, Elaine Proby here, CEO PROBY'S Tax and Accounting, and the idea here is to make sure that we take advantage of all of the deductions. A lot of folks is in the entertainment industry, and a lot of us need to know what it is that we can write off, of course, because we want to pay the least amount of taxes and keep more money in our pocket, right? Okay, so I want to welcome you guys on here again. Hi, Shade. Thanks for jumping on, Andy. Thanks for jumping on, you guys. We're going to jump right into this today. Again, tax deduction for entertainers, people that are in the movies, entertainment, modeling, musicians, artists, and all that good stuff. So we're going to talk about that. So the first one I want to talk about is, if you're in business, guys, most of your expenses that is ordinary and necessary. Number one, the ordinary and necessary business deductions, which we're very familiar with. Most of us are familiar with those expenses. How you doing, Andy? Time to get busy. Yes. Most of those expenses that are ordinary and necessary, guys, we pretty much are familiar with those things, right? So if we have an office, things like the office supplies, that stuff we know that is ordinary and necessary. A lot of stuff like maybe your cell phone, maybe your telephone, things like photocopies, any type of accounting expenses, legal expenses. These are things that most people are very familiar with, your cable bill, internet bill, things like that, because you got to have the cable to have your internet so you can, function worldwide. So those are some of the most common expense deductions, right, that most people in business are going to be taking, and you're very familiar with those. And then things like your rent. If you, like I said, if you have rent for a studio or rent for an office, those things we are going to be taking off. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the other special deduction that relates to the industry that you guys are in. So, there's things like maybe coaching. You may have to have a trainer to assist you in, say, vocal. You may need a trainer for, say, dancing. For some type of performance. You might have special performance coming up. You can write off the expense that you pay someone to actually train you for, say, the dancing performance, or let's say for vocal training, for music training. You can write off the expense for someone to train you for that, right? And then most people in the industry, again, like I said, generally needs this. They generally use it. That's an expense deduction, right? You also will have stuff like agent fees. A lot of people in the industry, entertainers, artists, you guys have to pay an agent or a manager fee. A lot of folks have that. Agent fees, management fees, make sure that you take deductions for that, because some of them, you know, they have a certain percentage rate for this stuff. They take that, some of them take it off the top. Sometimes you have to pay them. So make sure that your agent management fees is deductible. Deduction for, say, a public relations person. You know, when you have a public relations person or maybe an entire firm. So you have deduction for your PR, management, PR, whether that's an individual or whether it's an entire firm, you get deductions for that. Right. So you guys in the industry, again, this is very common in the industry to be able to take those deductions off. Most people have to work with a PR agent, with a management agent. A lot of folks sign up with management companies. Anything that you pay them, any type of fees is a deduction. Okay. Let's talk about travel. Right. In this business, most people are traveling somewhere. A lot of your income derived from traveling, going to different locations, different places, different cities, different countries. So traveling expenses, right? So a deduction for traveling expenses, guys, keep in mind, travel away from home, for airfare, for your lodging, right? Meals while you're away from home. Transportation while you're away from home. Meals while you're away from home. These are travel-related expenses that are deductible, and it is definitely has to be business-related, guys. Has to be business-related. This is not a personal thing. If you go away from home and it is for business, it's for performance, it's for an interview, it's still, to go do promotional appearances. That stuff is considered business related. You get to write off all the travel expenses related to that. Okay. If you are going from one location to another location, guys, now transportation or commuting, this is the one that I really want to touch on. Commuting is a deduction, but it's not commuting, let's say, from your home to the studio. It's just like me going from my home to the office. Commuting is not a deduction, but if you're going from one studio to another studio, you're going from one location to another for an interview, for an appearance, that is considered a deduction expense. You can deduct your mileage for that stuff, guys, or if it's a cab fare, whatever the transportation cost is for commuting from a business location to another business location, you can deduct, right? But not from home, just going to the studio, because I cannot take from home to the office. All right, but going to another location, another studio, you can take that as a deduction, part of the communication cost. Now, this is a big one, guys. Equipment in industry, you guys spend a lot of money on equipment, especially if you are in, well, any one of them, actually. If you're in the film industry, there's a lot of expensive equipment that you buy, cameras, lighting, a lot of stuff that you purchase. There's a deduction for that. I mean, in many ways, it can be taken off as depreciation expenses, but it's still a write-off. I want you guys to understand that the expense for that is a deduction on your tax return. Whether you had to buy, if you're in the music business, if you have to buy microphones, any type of recording equipment, software, all the stuff is a deduction, guys. Make sure that you keep track of all this stuff so you can write this off. If you had to get a new computer, a lot of times you have to upgrade. All that stuff is a deduction in the business that you're in. You want to make sure that you do take the expense deduction for those. One other item in that department, guys, we want to talk about is promotional materials, right? So you generally have to have a promotional material for what it is that you do. For instance, if you are in the any part of the entertainment, basically you got to take photos, right? You need a photographer. You got to take photos. You have to have up-to-date headshots. If you're in acting, modeling, up-to-date headshots, any type of, you have to be having a promotional subscriptions for any type of, let's say, music subscriptions. You guys need to write that off. Any type of subscription for, like models, they have a subscription that they have to pay for a certain website that they got to be listed on. So website expenses. These are some of the things that, one, you must have them, and two, they are a deductible expense, guys. They are a deductible expense, okay? So any type of music equipment and microphones and things like that you have to purchase, you guys make sure you keep track of it, because you can write that off. So that's what we want to talk about in the ordinary and necessary business deduction. Again, because you're in the industry, because you're in the entertainment industry, there's a little bit more than just someone else just running an office or some type of service business. So these are deductions that are related specifically to you, right? So that's number one point today, ordinary and necessary expense deduction. All right. Hi, Lorna. Thanks for jumping on here. Thanks for jumping on here. That's right. Hey, you guys over here at IG. Thank you all for tuning in. So number 2, deductions with limitation. This is a big deal right here, guys. There are deductions that we take for granted, and I just want to point out a few of them that are limited, right? Wardrobe. Now, the wardrobe has to be necessary for the event that you're doing, for the business that you're doing. You can't just write off any outfit and say it is wardrobe deduction. It has to be necessary for what it is that you're doing. Now, you guys know if you're a performer, let's say, for instance, you might buy a certain wardrobe just for the stage performance. It cannot be something that you would be wearing wherever you go. It's a daily outfit. That's not considered wardrobe, guys. It's very limited. So you have to make sure that it's only a wardrobe that is necessary for the part that you're playing. For instance, if you're going for an acting role and you needed to be a nurse or you needed to be something else. If it's not supplied by the producer and you have to spend your money on it, you get to write that off. So wardrobe, everything that you buy is not considered a wardrobe deduction. It has to be something that is just used on stage for your performance, and that is what's deductible, right? So that's wardrobe. That's one of the ones that there's very limited. Other limitation, physical fitness. Now, a lot of us get carried away and we say, okay, well, physical fitness, we all have to be in shape. Yes, we all have to be in shape, but everything that is physical fitness is not considered a deduction because some of it is personal, right? Some of it is personal. Some of us just need to be in shape, just period. So what it is, let's say you're getting trained, you have a role as a boxer, you have a role as, in some part that you have to be physically trained, right? Physically trained, you got to work out, get some muscles or whatever it is. That's the type of physical fitness they're talking about. You get paid for the coaching, the training, the gym dues, and you can write that stuff off. So not anything that's just more personal than it is business. So that's one of those deductions with limitations. Another one I want to point out, again, very common. We get a little bit carried away and maybe a little bit misconstrued with this one is like, say we hiring, for instance, security or, for instance, a personal bodyguard. Now, if you are at an event or you're going to a venue and you have a performance or something going on and you need crowd control, you need paparazzi control, you need stuff like this, you hire a bodyguard, you hire security. That's fine, but on a day-to-day basis, guys, on your day-to-day routine, it is not a deduction to be able to say, well, I have to pay a security person on a daily basis, right? So there's limitations there because some of it may be personal, but it all needs to be business related. Right now, it needs to be business related. So security, again, the bodyguard, physical fitness, and wardrobe, those are some of the stuff that are borderline. And one last thing on the borderline deductions, guys, we want deductions with limitation. I know a lot of my entertainers and a lot of folks that are into the movie production industry and a lot of folks that are into music, for instance. You go to different events, you go to movies, theaters, things like this that are business related, right? So what it is, though, the limitation is if you went to the event or you went to a movie theater, it has to be business related. It has to be something educational, something you need for you to be able to write, say, the next script. And then there's only one ticket that is a deduction. You can take 5 or 6 friends with you and write that all off because it's not a part of the script. One person, if you're the only one there, unless, of course, you're a company that's taking a team of writers to an event, then you can write it all off because everyone there needs this information for education. So those are some of the limitations, guys, on deductions in the industry. And I really want to point those out. Again, I get a lot of questions from a lot of my clients and other people calling and want to know what's deductible, right? So that's the second point today. There's a lot more with this stuff, but I don't want to get too complex. I just want to point out these ones to you guys so you can make notes of them and know what they are going forward. The third point today is required documentation. Now, anything when it comes to tax deduction and tax write-off, anyone is subject to an audit, so you may always be questioned or ask a question about any of these deductions. You want to be able to have backup documentation. Now, one of the major things in the industry, guys, in the entertainment industry, a lot of this stuff is done by contract. So a lot of your PR firms and management firms and videography and people who's doing, your photography, a lot of this stuff is done by contracts. You want to be able to have contractual agreement. You want to be able to have maybe invoices with this stuff on there and, proof of payment for this stuff because a lot of it could be very expensive. So you want to have that type of proof. Keep those backup documentation, guys. You need to have that. And then keep track of all your deduction. If you pay with credit card, if you use your bank card, your debit card, keep track of those deductions, because if you're asked to provide documentation for any of this stuff, you can pull your bank records, you can pull your credit card records, you can pull out these contracts and all these payments, and you can provide that information so your deduction will not be taken away from you, right? So that's what we want to do. So that's the third point, required documentation that you must have. And then anyone that you pay over $600 as an independent person, you know, at the end of the year, you want to give them a 1099 as well. That's also excellent documentation as far as you paying that money out, and it allowed those deductions. So that is my 3 point today, guys. I want to go ahead and recap those 3 points. Again, in like program here, we're talking about tax deductions for entertainers, and the first deduction, the ones that are ordinary and necessary, which we talked about most commonly, phones and rent and stuff like that. But I do mention things like your agent fees, special training, vocal training, musical training, dance training, stuff like that. And I talked about the travel expense deductions and airfare travel away from home. Make sure there's a business relationship to that travel so that you can write it off. And then all your promotional stuff as well, just as a recap, things like your photography. You know, you have to keep headshots and stuff like that. You have to have a website and may list it on other people's websites, or subscriptions to those are deductions. And then, of course, the second point today, guys, deductions with limitation. Some of the stuff is not 100% deductible. It has to be needed for ordinary and necessary business-related expenses, things like your wardrobe. Not everything you buy is considered wardrobe. It's got to be for performance. It's got to be a costume. Things like that is 100% deductible. Physical fitness, one of the things I pointed out is making sure that we all got to stay fit, but unless there's a role that you're playing that you have to physically be trained for, right? You got to be trained, maybe get some muscles, whatever it is. Those are deductible. And again, theater and concerts, stuff like that is limited. You can't just take everybody, the entire family in their own neighborhood and write it off. It's limited to the one ticket that you need for educational purposes, or if you're taking a team of writers for educational purposes, right? Third point today, guys, backup documentation. Make sure that you track all of your expenses so that you can have your backup documentation if you're asked to provide this information. People that you have to give contract for, like major charges for your agent fees and things like that, you want to have those documentation as backup in case you are asked. All right. So that's my 3 points today, guys. Gotta run. Gotta love you. Okay. Thanks, Andy. Thanks for tuning in. Okay. So I appreciate you tuning in. So I know you're going to come back to here and get the rest of this information. All right, guys. So that's the 3 points today. Deduction for entertainers and people in the industry. And if you guys have any further questions about any of this stuff, be sure to hit us up here at PROBY'S Tax and Accounting. 323-290-9034. Again, I have a lot of clients that are in the industry, so we go over these deductions on a regular basis. Every year, we're constantly going over deductions so that they could be prepared on the next go around when they come to do their taxes. They got all their write-offs and everybody's ready to go. Okay, so that's it for this session today, guys. I want to invite you guys to sign up for the free webinar. Next Thursday on the 15th webinar, free webinar, guys. Sign up. Go to elainesdesk.com. I'm going to talk to you guys about the reasons why you should start a business. Most people have that in mind. They want to start a business. They don't know if they should or not. And they may have passions, things that they're working with. They may have had side hustles. They may have things that they're doing as a hobby, but they want to turn it into a business. If you join me on Thursday, the 15th at 6 p.m. at elainesdesk.com, I will give you guys 10 reasons why you should really turn your business, your passion, or your side hustle into a business, or reasons why you should start a business. Okay, so sign up for the free class, and I will see you at that class on July 15th. Sign up at elainesdesk.com. And with that said, guys, hi Laverne, thanks for jumping in here. Well done, appreciate you. All right, so Thomas Ziva, thank you for signing in here. So with that said, guys, Charlie Vituno is online. Hello, how are you? With that said, guys, I'm up out of here. I want you guys to join me every Tuesday and Thursday and put your notification on as you normally do. Really appreciate that. Hi, Karen. You're going to sign up? Yes, you can sign up. Definitely, Karen, sign up. Go to elainesdesk.com and sign up for this free class. You're going to enjoy everything in there because we're going to talk to you about, you know, the reasons you should start the business. And since you have already started, we're going to talk about some traits that you need to have to continue your business and make it very successful. So go ahead and sign up, Karen, and I will see you at the class. Before then, I'll see you next Tuesday and Thursday. All right. With that said, guys, I'm up out of here. I want you guys to take care of each other and take care of yourself. Have a great day. Bye-bye.